War, because in the past couple of days, President Trump met with the leaders of both countries, and I would love to get your take on both of those meetings. Let's start on Friday. President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin had a summit in Alaska. What do you think of that meeting? What were your takeaways there?
Well, I would like to say it's so important for us to stand with our ally, Ukraine. And we must never forget this was an unprovoked invasion of Russia. And yes, the president is trying to talk to both sides, both parties, and the leaders of these countries to come to some sort of agreement. I think it is imperative that there is a ceasefire because there are innocent people who are being killed here. And above all, we still have to allow the diplomatic process to take its course and ideally to get to a deal that is going to work. But meanwhile, I do believe it's so important for us to continue to stand with Ukraine. I believe it's important for us to continue to make sure that they have the assistance that they need. And because of that, and with the assistance, I believe that there will be a better deal in the end. Uh, Also, would say that we should not keep off the table sanctions and stiffer sanctions against Russia. But we have to always be reminded it was an unprovoked invasion by Russia. And if we don't stop Putin now and he continues, then it's going to only continue to escalate. And the worst thing that could ever happen, I believe, having served and worn uniform, is that as there's more aggression and more engagement, and we ever see today that we're now having to put the uniform soldiers from the United States on the ground. That's just not where we need to be. Right now, we need to continue to work through Ukraine so that we can continue to push back and through a diplomatic process, I believe, come to a stronger agreement.
I'm curious if you think that the Trump administration is forgetting that this was an unprovoked war that Russia started, because Putin got the handshake photo. Putin was greeted on American soil by the President of the United States. A luncheon menu found at the site said, in honor of His Excellency Vladimir Putin. Is this A, legitimizing Putin on the world stage, in your opinion? And B, if Russia's getting all of this, what exactly is the United States getting in return?
Yeah, I mean, you could arguably, make that argument that and take that position. But what I believe matters the most is our willingness and ability to stand with Ukraine to make sure that there's adequate assistance in place, to make sure that with intelligence we're sharing information and that we're doing everything that we can to equip Ukraine to be successful. And as we do that, and we're able to come through a diplomatic means of some sort of negotiation, the more that we're able to ensure that Ukraine's able to stand the course on the front line, I believe that we walk away at the end with a better agreement on the back end.
I am curious what your take is on the concessions here, because President Trump, before meeting with Zelensky, he posted a host of concessions on Truth Social, including that Ukraine will not be getting Crimea back and Ukraine will not be able to join NATO. And that's how he said Ukraine can end the war. He did say in the White House with Zelensky on Monday that security guarantees would be available, including Europe will be the first line of defense, but the United States will be involved. Do you think that's a good deal here? I mean, what do you make of those conditions?
I mean, you can't have a deal, in my opinion, where Ukraine's not able to become a member of NATO, or you begin the conversation by giving up sovereignty of your land. Um, Again, that's why I think it is so important for us to stand with Ukraine. And let's just be clear on this and put the dollar tag. Um, the cost of standing with Ukraine in the short term, I believe, is so much worth it and will prove to be worth it in the long term, that we have to stand on the side of Ukraine right now and to push back with some of those provisions that are being thrown out there.
And what do you make of President Trump saying before the meeting that there would be very severe consequences on Russia if Putin, right then and there, didn't agree to the end of the war? Are we seeing any consequences now? What do you make of that?
I put it this way: as commander in chief, having served in the Air Force, in this case, I'm going to reserve judgment in terms of what the president has in mind. I can tell you, me personally, when we shift gears for a moment and look at how we were able to go into Iran with the B 2 Spirit, and just send a message: hey, here's our capability. You see what we're able to do, regardless of to the extent in which their nuclear programs have been delayed. It showed strength. It showed our ability to actually mobilize our forces in a way that was, I thought, very well intended. So we bring strength, I believe, into a lot of these conversations. And I just believe that as we're standing again, with Ukraine, and others see our capacity, our ability, what we're able to do, obviously there is a deterrent factor. And not only that, but I believe we should use our strength at the end to combine with diplomacy to get to the best deal.
And how do you think, specifically in this situation, America should use their strength? Because you did bring up Iran, and the United States did drop bunker busting bombs on multiple nuclear sites in Iran. Are you suggesting that the United States gets involved militarily? How do you think we show strength here?
I believe our best way of showing and demonstrating strength at this point in time is by clearly standing with Ukraine and making sure that they have the ability to be successful on the front line.
Congressman, and what would you like to see next here? Because it doesn't seem like, as you and I are sitting here now, it doesn't seem like a ceasefire deal has been made. So what do you want to see next?
Yeah, I mean, this is a process. I would not necessarily intend it, especially when you're not always dealing with those who are about fair play, especially with Putin. I would not expect him to necessarily do anything. Matter of fact, I believe that he's going to have to be forced to come to the table in a real way. And it's a process of not one particular thing. But I believe, again, the most important thing that we are able to do right here is to show and to be clear that we are standing with Ukraine, and make that clear, make it known, make it, crystal clear. There's no doubt. And I truly would then let that help drive negotiations and diplomacy.